Hammond City Council, public hearing agenda, June 10th, 2025, 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Gonzalez. Councilman Wells. Here. Councilman DiViterio.
Here.
Councilman Andrews.
Present.
Councilman Leon.
Present.
Before we roll into the public hearing, each comment that will be made tonight, if you come to the microphone, you will be limited to 3 minutes. Item number 1.
An ordinance request by Kyle Bratton for a major subdivision at 1406 South Holly Street, located in District 2. Oops, I read that different. Hold on. Located in District 2. I think this is for RM3.
It's already zoned, it's RM2.
RM2. Didn't update this sheet. Charles?
Yes, to clarify, this is currently zoned RM2, which is a residential multifamily zoning. There's a proposal to develop this currently undeveloped parcel into a new subdivision. Planning and zoning did meet on this. They had a work session on May 1st, a public hearing on May 8th. This was introduced at the May 27th council meeting. The vote for the Planning and Zoning Commission was 4-0 for the approval. I'm not sure if someone's here tonight to speak to it, but it's been recommended by approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Is there anyone here on this item? Okay. If you'd like to step, you can step up here and give us your name and city, please.
My name's Kyle Bratton. I live on 50422 George Road in Independence. And this was originally a approved deal, Covington Gordon subdivision, and it was including 8 multifamily lots. So we're looking to change we submitted a preliminary plat to take the multifamily out and make it all single-family residential lots, which is 59 total lots. And in the last meeting, we had a couple people commented on where the entrance was across the street directly from the Holly Gardens subdivision, and we changed that entrance and moved it away from there to try to alleviate some of those concerns. But I think we've abided by everything that we're supposed to with the Hammond City, and looking to get it approved.
Okay.
So I've had, I was there for the planning and zoning, and this is in District 2. I had many people reach out. Everyone's concerned about the traffic. Everyone I've talked to says you've met our requirements. In that planning and zoning meeting, I think there was one lot that needed to be fixed, and it looks like that's been dealt with. So everything meets our approvals. I would remind anyone who's watching or listening and cares about this, this is just the approval for the plat. You still have to submit drainage and lots of other plans to the city for approval. So this is just the beginning phase of it. And yeah, I mean, obviously traffic's a concern, and it's going to remain a concern.
Okay. Is there anyone else from the public on this item? Number 2.
Excuse me, an ordinance request by Jason Aycock for annexation of 17028 East Iowa Street into Hammond city limits that will be zoned RS-3, which allows single-family homes to be built. It will be in District 1. Charles?
There's an updated staff report. We failed to mention at the last meeting that the request is to zone this RS3. That is a single-family residential zoning, which is actually more restrictive than the default zoning, which is RS8. And there is someone here, I believe, to speak on this tonight. This was recommended for approval by the city planner and the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Jason Aycock, 862 Lee Drive, Ponchatoula. I'm the owner of the property seeking annexation.
All right. Anyone else have any questions?
I'll mention I had a couple people reach out curious about what this was, and once I told them, I showed them the plan that it was 9 lots and they were going to be single-family homes. And everyone I talked to was happy to hear that, and it's a welcome addition.
Yes, and I did have some constituents to reach out to me as well, and I explained to them that this was going to be single-family homes on that property. Anyone else from the public on this item? You need to step to the mic and give us your name and city, please.
My name is Reginald Seals, and I'm from Hammond, Louisiana.
Okay.
My home is adjacent to the property. So what my concern is how is properties annexed onto the city? Is there a procedure that we follow? Is there a vote that is taken, or is this just a council approval?
There is a procedure. It's actually outlined in the staff report. It's actually, you can see there, it says city plan recommendation, and she references the section from our Unified Development Code, which is 1.14, annex land. So that will actually, if you wanted to read the procedure, that's the procedure that's followed. So if the property meets the requirements, it then goes before the Planning and Zoning Commission. Anytime there's a zoning request, an annexation request, Planning and Zoning will evaluate the request. They vote and make a recommendation. That comes to the council. We have a public hearing. We have an introduction, and we have a public hearing like tonight. And that's where the decision is made to approve or not.
So there's no vote with the public?
There is the opportunity for the public hearing at the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then the public hearing tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else? All right. Number 3.
An ordinance request by Craig Gibson for an annexation of Caroline Drive in Hammond's city limits that will be zone RS-11.A, which allows for mobile homes, District 1. Charles Barsher.
This also has an updated staff report. I think we also neglected to include the zoning that was requested. So here it's RS-11A, which is a residential zoning. I think the biggest distinction here is that it allows for mobile homes or manufactured homes where the default does not. This was, again, heard by the Planning and Zoning Commission on May 1st. There was a public hearing on May 8th. It was introduced at the council meeting on May 27th. Tonight is the public hearing and vote.
All right. Is there anyone here on this item?
Trey Gibson, 1209 MC Moore Road, Hammond, Louisiana. Just wanted to say that I missed one meeting due to work, and I heard some talk that the neighbors may have thought that I was trying to put a trailer park there. And that's totally not the case. It's just only for me and my family, and that's my whole plans for the whole property, all 8 acres of it.
And I'll go on record as that as well. I did receive some phone calls about that, and I did assure the residents in that area that that information that they were provided was incorrect. All right. Is there anyone else from the public on this item? Number 4.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances regarding alcoholic beverages in the city parks. Councilman Andrews.
This item will be tabled until our next meeting. However, before we move forward with the table, I will allow anyone here to make any public comments due to the fact that I did attend a meeting on last week along with Councilwoman Gonzalez. Councilman DiViterio, Councilman Wells, and Councilman Leon was not in attendance at that meeting. So at this time, I will allow anyone to make any comments where they will be able to hear any comment that was made on last week. Again, your comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. Michelle Kendall, Director of the Hammond Downtown Development District. Thank you, Councilman Andrews and Councilwoman Gonzalez, for attending the meeting that we hosted to discuss the implications of this revision with our community. We had a lot of discussion at that meeting, but just for, I guess, conclusion's sake, the way this is drafted does affect the operation of events in our public parks in downtown in particular, and we would like to see exemption of the parks that are located within the downtown development district. to this. And I know we had some discussion about the eligible entities that would be getting a special event waiver. So we'd just like to state publicly that those are some of the revisions we'd like to see, and would like to work with you outside of this to draft that if that is needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I make a motion to table this item until our June 24th meeting, please.
Second.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Leon, Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Number 5.
An ordinance to adopt the City of Hammond's budget for fiscal year 2025-2026. Charles?
You want me to take it, Charles? This item here is going to be tabled until our June 24th meeting. At that time, we will discuss the budget and make a final adoption to that. Prior to our June 24th meeting on next Tuesday at 9 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, we will have a meeting with the council and the administration to iron out any other kinks or any other things that we need to look at inside of their budget prior to June 24th. So I make a motion to table.
Second.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
I'm sorry, so that's June's next Tuesday at 9.
Right.
I know we circulated, but I didn't know that there was confirmation of it. Okay, thank you.
Hammond City Council regular session agenda. June 10th, 2025, 5:41 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Wells,
Aye. Here.
Councilman Andrews,
Present.
Councilman Leon, Councilman Divatario,
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Present.
Thanks, and everyone please stand for our prayer. Eternal Father, we thank you on this evening. We give you glory, we give you honor, we give you praise and thanks. Thanking you, Father God, for another day on this journey. Thanking you, Father God, for allowing us one more day to get things right. One more day to touch somebody else's life to make it better. Father God, I ask you to continue to give us the peace that surpasseth all understanding. Continue to order our steps. I ask that you continue to bless this council, bless their families, continue to bless each council district. I ask that you continue to bless the mayor, the city administration, our fire department, our police department. Continue to cover them and keep them as they continue to protect us, serve us. I ask that you continue to bless each city employee for the city of Hammond. I ask that you continue to touch our city, state, and country, our city, state, and country leaders. Father, if there's ever time we need you right now. And we just thank you for your grace, your unfavored mercy on our lives right now, Father God, that you give us something that we truly do not deserve. And that was what you gave us in your darling Son, who you allowed to die upon the cross. So we thank you this evening, Father, that everything will be done decent, order, and pleasing in your sight, where you will get all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. Because even at our best, we are still filthy rags in your eyesight. So we just thank you right now for what you've done, what you're going to continue to do, and how you're going to continue to keep us. I ask that you protect us tonight and keep this storm away from us, where everyone will return back to their homes, safe and unharmed. We give you thanks for that right now. In your darling Son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. At this time, I ask that all active military, and prior military veterans please render the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'm asking for a motion of approval for our May 27th meeting, please.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Wells,
Abstain.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilman Leon,
Aye.
and Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Final adoption of ordinance number 1.
Final adoption of an ordinance request by Kyle Bratton for a major subdivision at 1406 South Holly Street, located in District 3. Charles.
As discussed during the public hearing, this was recommended for approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're asking the council for approval.
Okay. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to make a comment or concern about this particular item? Anyone from the council? Any other readiness before I call for a vote? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Abstain.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Final adoption of ordinance number 2.
Final adoption of an ordinance request by Jason Aycock for annexation of 17028 East Iowa Street into Hammond city limits that will be zoned RS-3, which allows single-family homes to be built. Will be built in District 1.
Again, this was also discussed during the public hearing, recommended approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're asking the council to approve tonight.
Is there anyone else from the public who would like to make a comment or concern on this particular item? Anyone from the council? Any other readiness before I call for a vote? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Leon,
Aye.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Final adoption of ordinance number 3.
Final adoption of an ordinance, final adoption of an ordinance request by Trigg Gibson for annexation of Caroline Drive in Hammond City limits that will be zoned RS-11.A, which allows for mobile homes, will be District 1.
This was also heard during the public hearing. It was recommended for approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're asking for the council's approval.
Anyone from the public on this item? Any questions or concerns from anyone from the council? Any other readiness before I call for a vote? Pleasure of the council. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Leon,
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye. Final adoption of ordinance number 4.
Final adoption of ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances regarding alcoholic beverages in city parks.
I
Councilman.
make a motion that this item again be tabled until our June 24th meeting.
Second.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilman Leon,
Aye.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Final adoption of ordinance number 5.
Final adoption of an ordinance to adopt the City of Hammond's budget for fiscal year 2025 through 26. Charles, take.
There was a motion to table this during the public hearing.
Right.
Defer to the-
Oh, I'm sorry, Charles. I should have just jumped on that. I make a motion to table this item until our June 24th meeting, please.
Second.
Second.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Introduction of ordinance number 1.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances regarding prohibition on persons under the age of 21 in standalone bars and nightclub. Councilman Andrews.
All right. This item is being introduced tonight. And again, with any introduction, it's open for public hearing as well for discussion. This item is on the agenda due to trying to prevent, in my eyesight, get a grip on keeping youngsters that shouldn't be in bars out. A lot of people have their view on how they feel about certain things. I respect that. But me being an educator, sitting in my classroom and I'm hearing these kids telling me that they're getting into these spots, that they're paying a cover charge to get in, and then God forbid somebody leave that spot, get hit, kill somebody, then I would feel bad about it, knowing that we didn't try to put some in preventative measures in place to try to prevent that from happening. But again, this is just an introduction of an item, and I'm open open to listening to what other folks have to say about it, but my stance is right now what my stance is. Name and city, please.
Patrick Billings. I'm the owner of the Round Door. We have 3 college bars here. We have Phipps, Round Door, and Mule's Place, Kate Street. We're college bars. We're on the other side of the tracks. We do have 18s up to 21. We don't understand how the 16-year-old got in, which they do. If it's 21 under, it's going to take a lot away from the college experience that everybody comes to this town for. It's going to take a lot away from the 3 bars. When you take away the 18, 19, 20s, because everybody's going to be graduating at 21, 22, they're going to be taking the freshmen and all those others. They're going to flee and go somewhere else with them. It won't leave nothing for us here. So our bars are going to close. We're going to have few people here to keep us going. It's not that we sell liquor to them. We are clubs. We're dance clubs. So that's how we stay going. We give them a place to go to dance and hang out. If there's some place where we're doing wrong, we can close early, turn our lights on early to get them out of our bars, clean up the streets early, let us know what we can do. We'll do it. They're not buying liquor at our bars. We're not selling them liquor. So we're open to help. Just give us a chance. Tell us what we're doing wrong.
Thank you. Anyone else? Step to the mic and give your name and city, please.
My name's Dan Lambert. I'm the owner of Kate Street Pub on Kate Street. Obviously, you say this. First, let me say about this. You say you're open to discussion, yet we all met the other day.
And like I told you, that meeting there was dealing with the parks. That's what I was at that meeting for. I clarified that with you by text message. That was for the parks. It had nothing to do with the bars. That's what I was there for the parks. And I told you in that same text message that the same way I met with them about the parks, I'll meet with the bars. Go ahead.
Yeah, my point being is that all the bar owners were there together in one place, and you could have easily asked our opinion about this, but you didn't. So I'll ask you this, sir. Have you asked any of you other councilmen, Councilman Gonzalez, did he talk to you about this ordinance? Is this the first you heard about it tonight? Mr. Mayor, is this the first you heard about this ordinance? When you read it. So you haven't talked to anybody else. The chief of police I talked to said you never talked to him about this ordinance. Hold on, can I?
Go ahead. Go ahead, I'm listening to you.
So you haven't talked to anyone about it. You just threw this ordinance out to say people can't come anymore. But if you had a problem, why not go to the chief of police and say, Chief, I'm having a problem. Constituents would call me, said underage kids are getting in the bar. The chief would call me and we would work on it. But since y'all can't even talk to the chief of police because you hate him so much, you can't deal with him. Y'all can't talk to each other. And this is how things break down, okay, when you can't speak to one another. However, if you're having a problem with underage kids, how does stopping 18-year-olds from going in, how does that help that? Also, people that go to the bar between the ages of 18 and 20, they don't all drink. Not everybody that goes to a bar drinks. We have live music. Some of them play live music. We have comedians. Some of them are comics. We have musicians. We have people that go to dance, to socialize. We have fraternities and sororities that have mixers. Sam, you've been a part of those when you were young and 18, 19 years old. In the same bar we're talking about, you worked there at 18, 19 years old. Mr. Mayor, you've owned bars with kids 18, 19 years old. We've been doing this for 28 years in my bar, and we haven't had these major problems. I don't know where they're coming from. If you're having problems, why hasn't the chief heard about it? Why haven't all you guys heard about it? We're having problems with the streets. We had a kid get shot in front of a laundromat, and y'all want to shut the bars down. You want to close at 12 o'clock. I don't understand the logic here of you wanting to ban 18 to 20-year-olds because 16-year-olds are drinking. If you can explain that to me, I'm open to hear it. Thank you.
All right. Again, this is an introduction of an ordinance, and it's up to the council to discuss among ourselves within the next 2 weeks. No, I haven't talked to the chief of police about this at all. I will reach out to him. However, I've reached out to him prior to something else weeks ago that I still haven't got an answer for. So, hey, how can you talk to somebody if they won't respond back to you? Thank you. That stuff there is water under the bridge to me. When it comes to that, that's water under the bridge to me. I respect that man every time I see him, and I've never got out of line with him when he comes in here. So I'm not going to play that game tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hold up, Devon. You can say something in just a moment. I'm going to get this out. This is an introduction of an ordinance. Just like any other introduction of an ordinance that anybody put on here before, there are times nobody has disseminated any of that information until they saw it right here on this agenda. I'm not trying to hide nothing from anybody or anything like that. I'm not going to play that game, okay? So as I stated to you on that text message, the same way I met with them about the parks, I'm willing to do that same thing. Now, you can pull up the text message. If you want me to, I can pull it up and let them see it themselves, all the way down to the very end of it, what was stated. So, again, council members, ain't nothing ever changed. You know how we discuss things among each other? If there's an issue or a problem among that, if it's something you want to change on that, discussing it, I'm open to that. But it's being introduced, just like anything else, and we work through our introduction like we've done with everything else. Go ahead, Councilman Will.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think the problem that we're having problems with young kids now. And it's not just in Hammond, it's all across the world. And so what we're trying to do is clean up the problem where it won't get out of hand. Used to be Mason Foster, used to be the mayor. And I don't agree with everything he did or everything he said, but one thing he did say, that he wasn't gonna let Hammond look like Bourbon Street. And I understand exactly what he's talking about. And we do have a problem. The gentleman up there was talking first, and he said about closing the bars down early or cutting the lights on early. I like what he said. He wasn't loud. He didn't scare me or none of that. So, sir, if you with your attitude and how you act, you're not gonna get nothing done acting that way. We just discussing it. So I tell everybody, it's 1,000 ways that you can be nice to people. Yeah, everybody know, and I say it on the record. Yeah, I got a problem with the chief. Everything I request for, everything that I ask for, to see the monitors in the park, not watching your bar room, not watching his bar room, see the monitors in the park where the kids are, in Mooney Park. No, I couldn't go. He put rules and regulations on me as if I was a police. So, yeah, I do have a problem. Mr. Mayor, he know what's going on. Yeah, we got 1,000 problems up here. You know what? It's our job to solve the problem. It's not your job. If somebody gets shot in your bar room or any other bar room, 9 times out of 10 downtown, nobody will never hear about it, because guess what? It's going to be covered up. So we all know this. This ain't just started tonight. Thank you.
Anyone else? Step to the mic and give us your name and city, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Kevin Jackson. I'm 21 years old, and I attend Southeastern. Yeah, I DJ at several venues across Hammond, and I take my role as DJing not just as a hobby, but as a legitimate business. I'm here to express my deep concern about this proposed ordinance. I spent my whole life doing everything the right way. I could have easily turned to the streets like some of my family members and things across that nature. But instead, I chose to take this seriously. I chose to start this as a business, and because it's a passion that I have and I want to take it more seriously. This ordinance would directly affect my ability to make a living because this is my only source of income right now. As a DJ, my pay is directly tied to what we make at the door, those cover sales. Yeah, not only would that cut into my income, it would also strip away an opportunity that I've worked extremely hard to earn. Even beyond that, I believe there's more consequences that this could bring. Removing young adults from a safe, regulated environments with police and licensed security nearby could push them towards house parties where there's no structure, no oversight, and a much greater risk of harm. They'll also be more likely to travel to neighboring communities, which increases the risk of late-night driving, accidents, and unsafe decisions. I choose a path of hard work, discipline, and creativity, and right now it feels like it punishes me and those who choose to, and it limits opportunities for local entrepreneurs, college students, and small businesses who contribute to the city's energy and economy. I'd like to say you please consider just a full picture of what you're really trying to push. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else? All right. Council?
This is I think this is a very complex issue. I think, this is just been in Hammond for a long, long time. Been involved in Southeastern for a very, very long time. We are a college town. Without Southeastern, I'm not sure that we'd have very many people here right now, or very many people within the city. I personally am not aware of any problems that we're having downtown. But if we are, and I go to bed at about 7:30, so I wouldn't know. But if we are, I'm not 100% sure that an ordinance is the way to handle this. The state's very clear on its law. 18 to enter, 21 to drink. And that seems to have been working for some time now. I have been around where we have had problems in Hammond before. And that's why AFT was called in. Hammond Police did some joint efforts with them. I think there's other avenues to correct problems or challenges that we may be having. We may have to come back and do an ordinance. I don't know. I just think that in the past, we've relied on state law and we've relied on law enforcement to correct those challenges, to work with those bars or restaurants or whatever other venues, and that's where it gets complex to me. How do you identify where an 18 to 20-year-old can and can't go? I mean, we got lots of different venues that serve alcohol. So anyway, my thoughts on this is that let's get law enforcement involved, let's get ATF involved, let's get bar owners involved, let's get community involved, and let's go ahead and resolve or head this challenge on without trying to put an ordinance in effect that I believe is going to be nearly impossible to enforce. That's just my thoughts.
Stanley Campbell, District 1. I
got two things, and I got one question. I'll be real brief, and I'll stay within the 3 minutes. Do we have something on the books currently right now to enforce? Is there an ordinance currently, or is there something in the charter to be enforced? That's my first question. Secondly, the bar owners, I appreciate the passion that everybody has on this situation. I know it's a tough situation, and it's a business decision that's being made on people's lives, and everybody has the best intentions. But at the same time, I believe we have to make good decisions, and we have to make sure that we're following whatever the ordinance says. So my question to the bar owners would be, what type of restrictions are we taking on people under the age of 21 actually having alcohol? Once I gain entry to a bar, is there a wristband, a different color wristband, or something like that that would make me not able to go to the bar to get a drink? Things like this here in the city council, we ought to be able to make these types of tough decisions, have passionate conversations. Our current climate of our politics, everybody has retreated to their tribes. And I just ask that we have a healthy dialogue here and come to some type of conclusion.
First, let me say I'm sorry if I got a little excited, and I might have spoke too loudly. I want to come back and say that. But I wanted to answer the gentleman's question. First, let me say that right now, there's only really 3 college bars in Hammond. That the colleges, there's older bars that people go to, but for college sake, there's 3 bars. And there's more business than any of us need. And we're not trying to get anybody under the age of 18 in the bar, I can promise you that. We have ID checkers that we put through a machine that tells if it's a valid ID, first off. If you're under the age of 21, you get a special color wristband for that night. We change it up every night so they're not finding out which ones we have. We have our logo on the wristband so we know they came from our bar. We actually work with the other bars to make sure the colors are right. We have a certain color for over 21. So that's the only ones that can purchase a drink. Now, do the people buy drinks and give it to their younger fraternity brother? I'm sure they do, absolutely. That's been happening forever. We try as hard as we can to stop it. If you don't believe me there's enough business, I think the problem is there's so much business as people outside in downtown, in the streets, especially if there's a big event. I mean, that's where this, I think, came from. There's a big event downtown. Y'all thought this big artist was coming in. Next thing you know, the police are there. The fire marshal's there. Everybody's like, oh my God, what's happening? And then it turned out that nobody even showed up to the concert. So it was a big deal about nothing. But the problem is when they do have a big event like Hot August Night or something like that, and there's tons of people in the air, what do you do? So this, to me, isn't a bar problem. It's a problem with controlling what's going on outside. However, our police department does the best job in the world of providing security for all these events that we have, that for downtown Hammond has. They bring in outside police for Hot August Stroll, and they do a great job. We're under control downtown. We're actually all making money, and it's vibrant. So I kind of get upset. I don't know where it's coming from. The other part of this, too, is, like you say, how are you going to distinguish who's going in to what bar? I mean, to what area? If you go into a restaurant, are you not allowed to drink in a restaurant? Because you have restaurants right now that have nightclubs inside of them. So can I go in there at 15 years old and watch people drink just like it's a bar? Yeah. So that's going on now. So maybe that could be part of the problem. You know, is that a lot of the times we get these kids that come in here between 18 and 20. By the time they get to us, we're a late night spot. It's 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. They've been to the restaurants and all downtown. A lot of them are coming in drunk already, you know, because it's more expensive to drink at our place. They're drinking at home. We charge $4 a beer. You come to my place. So if you think these college kids can afford to get drunk at my place, you're crazy. They're getting drunk somewhere else and coming in and having 1 or 2 beers, and that's it. So again, I apologize for my passion, but I don't think y'all are thinking the whole thing through. And will students stop coming to SOU? Not all of them, but when the guys can't go out with their fraternity brothers, or they can't go out with their sorority sisters and have a mixer, or they can't go celebrate the football win in the bars downtown where everybody's cheering. It's not about alcohol. It's about the social climate. You know, it's about kids and getting together and creating an atmosphere. When you have a bar owner like me, and there's only, like I said, 3 of us, that's sitting here telling you, I'll work with you. If you got something, ask the chief, ask him. He'll tell you, I've been there, and we have been there to work, to get details, to tell them when we're gonna have an event, to prep for these things. We wanna be a good part of the community, not something that y'all always look at and say, oh, it's the bars.
Stanley Campbell, District 1. This is probably one of those items that we kind of knew was probably going to be as pretentious and kind of hot topic item. A lot of the issues that I kind of advocate for is dealing with the police. And one of my questions is, in situations like this, when you guys see this on the agenda, why is the police chief not here? A lot of the bar owners, that's what they're stating. They want the council to make a decision based upon the police chief and his dealing with the bar owners. Why can't he attend meetings just like this one to provide the council some input?
First of all, he has a relationship with the bars, so they talk. As far as the police goes, they do a good job out there. What we are being is proactive, so we're worried about the streets. So events on the streets, just like Hot August Stroll, has been backed up. Used to be open till 10, now it's 8.
Yep.
You know, so we've shifted things. Being proactive, getting people off the streets into the clubs, into the businesses, and not in the streets and the parking malls as much. There's no reason why he couldn't have been here if he was asked to be here. He wasn't asked to be here. The answers that you need from him, we have a relationship with the ATC, Alcohol Tobacco Commission. They come down if needed. You know, it's the responsibility of the state to keep the bar owners, business owners in check. And they will pull their licenses if they're not, and then we're having issues, just like the issue with underage drinking coming in. Then they come in and check. You have bar owners who have the person at the door, they have the license checkers, and like many other bars, if you don't look like you're that person, you send them to the police officer. They don't want to talk to the police officer if it's a fake ID. So there's a lot of deterrences. Does it happen? It's occasionally going to happen, and that's what we deal with. But there are requirements by the state, and the police department does well with policing that. We also ask for 2 more police officers to be on foot on the strip. So hopefully that'll get passed in the budget as well. So I think everybody does a good job in doing what they need to do, especially enforcing. Right. It's just a matter of, I think if you clear the streets and the parking malls and have people go into the businesses and enjoy themselves, that's really where we're gearing to. That was the first step of being progressive and making sure that the city is safe.
Okay. I'm not questioning whether or not the police are doing a good job. That's not what I'm questioning. What I'm questioning is situations like this one, when we see items like this on the agenda that we know that the council is going to be making a decision on something like this. The police chief is the subject matter expert in this area. Right now, even the bars are asking the council to talk to the chief. And I don't think they should have to do that offline. I think the people's business is done right here. So I think the police chief should be here to be that subject matter expert for the council, for them to make a decision. This is the introduction of an ordinance. Is there a way that he can be at the next meeting?
Bottom line is, as you said, contentious, whatever. A lot of tension. I have his answers.
You have his answers?
Yeah, he's told me, you know, that we have a good relationship with the state, what the processes are, what the state is responsible for, and what we are responsible to do in the streets and with the bars.
Okay.
So if you have a question about it, did I not just answer it?
But I get what you're saying.
Just want the presence.
Yeah, the presence of the subject matter expert. You're not the subject matter expert. You are the overall CEO of the organization. Correct. And having that subject matter expert for this specific topic would be here, I think it would be better. Not saying that you're not answering it, but to have that guy, I think he would enforce what they're trying to say.
Michelle Kendall, Director of Hammond Downtown Development District. I just felt I needed to speak publicly since I was here and Hot August Stroll was mentioned. I know that this is in particular talking about underage drinking and prohibiting those from under 21 from entering into bars, which to my knowledge is not necessarily event related, but one item that did come up with respect to safety was not only events that, we have a large crowd control with that, reducing that time, like you said, Mayor. So there's time for the increased police force to handle that crowd control with everyone funneling into the bars after our events. Is certainly something that we want to do to manage, an event crowd from being there at our main stage into funneling to our businesses. But we also know that on any kind of given night in downtown, that it might be worth us looking at a process where we're permitting our businesses, if they're hosting additional entertainment at their establishment, that there is a clearer pathway for them to coordinate with our police department. I know that with our bar owners that are here, that relationship has been mentioned before between the police department, but I think it would help not only our bars, but all of our restaurants to have that permitting process, so that the street kind of control is there on a regular basis, as it's been mentioned before. So, no, it's not particular to this ordinance, but I thought that would be worthwhile to mention as a part of the discussion.
And that's in place as well. Whenever we have events at bars, I think Brown Door was the last one that had the event. We brought the barricades out. Police department is notified that, there's going to be extra folks on the street. So communication is key. You're right.
Excuse me, is there anyone else?
I'd just like to say that this is a motion to introduce, and there seems to be misinformation sometimes about that. When the council wants to discuss a topic further, just because the council individually, all unanimously, whatever, votes to introduce an item, that doesn't necessarily mean that particular council person is for or against that item. It just means that we're going to talk about it more. And I've seen a lot of misinformation about that lately, that, the council all unanimously voted to introduce this, so they must all want to do it, or they must all be in favor of it. So I guess I'm looking at the paper too, and not that you did it, but that's clarification. The public needs to understand more information is wanted, more discussion is wanted, but no decision has been made. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman Leon, for clearing that up. You have a statement?
Yes, Joe, I have something to say. When I vote yes, my yes mean yes. When I vote no, my no mean no. When I abstain, I abstain. So I don't know what the paper wrote. I don't read the paper. I don't read the emails, the texts, and all the other junk that a lot of people say. But when I vote from my heart, and I mean it, what I say and what I do. So can't nobody speak for me on voting now. So you talk about other things, but when I vote, if something I don't care for, if something I don't like, if something that's going to be a problem, if it's going to create an issue, I will vote no. And I'm glad this was brought up. And it's amazing how the gentleman talk about Hot August night and how the young lady got up and talk about Hot August night. So see how we able to talk about it now? And that's what it's all about, being able to talk about it, find what a problem is, and solving the problem. No, downtown is clean. Ain't no problems downtown. And you know I'm lying, but it sounds good to make y'all feel good. But in the meantime, we have to clean up things. Yeah, some people gonna get hit, some people not gonna get hit. When people shooting, somehow they always shoot the wrong person. The bullet hit the wrong person, and we know that. So sometimes you can prevent things. It started right here if we know about it. And so it started right here, and it's good just to talk about it, see what's going on, see how we can solve the problem. And I'm going to say this here. I went to college. I didn't graduate, and I didn't pass. But I know darn well I couldn't leave my house and tell my people I'm going to college to go to the bar room. They would have never let me leave the house if I told them I'm going to the bar room when I left and went to college. So that's not good to say, because if every student leave their house and their parents know they're going to the bar room, I'm quite sure no college will be open if they telling their parents they're going. So that there you saying they going to college and going to the bar room, that's not good at all. When people go to college, they're going to college for an education. But I knew what I was going for, and that was to have a good time on campus, and I did.
And I appreciate you stating that, Councilman Wills, in your last comment there, because I do understand that this is a college town, and to tag that to Southeast, but I'm quite sure Dr. Rainwright wouldn't want that on their website, stating that in order to, part of coming to Southeastern is to party and drink. And we all know what's going on college campuses, those of us that went there, but it is a totally different time. Mr. Lambert said he's been in business for 28 years. I'm quite sure 28 years ago to today is a totally different time. You know, it's a totally different time than what we're living in. So I could take all the darts that's going to be thrown, but I appreciate Councilman Leon for clarifying that. This is an introduction from out of an ordinance, no different than any other introduction or anything else that we have made in the past. It still goes through a discussion. Is there anyone else? I make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Abstain.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Introduction number 2.
Introduction of an ordinance to levy the following millage rates, but not in excess of the prior year's maximum rates on all taxable property shown on the official assessment roll for the year 2025, and to use the revenue collected from each millage only for the specific purposes for which the millage was levied. Millage adjusted rate for adjusted rate, general alimony, general fund, 8.730 mils. The levy 2025, 9.040 mils.
Lisa, I think you might be on the wrong one. We're on number 2. I think you're reading from number 3.
I was told to flip them. Okay, I can read number 3.
You want to read number 2, which is the introduction with the without the levy. The attachments were inverted, not the items themselves.
So my number 3 is technically number 2.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just trying to be clear because I was told they were flipped earlier today.
The attachments were flipped, but
Okay.
the ordinance was in the correct.
So introduction of an ordinance to adopt the following adjusted millage rate levied upon the dollar of the assessed valuation of all properties subject to ad valorem taxation within the corporate limits of the city of Hammond for the year 2025 for the purpose of raising revenue. General alimony, general fund, 5207001, 8.730 mils. Fire police, 5207002, 9.650 mils. Public Works, 5207003, 1.93 mils, for a total of 20.310 mils. Charles?
So I apologize for the confusion. When these items were added to the agenda and we hyperlinked these documents, the hyperlinks were actually flipped. So the ordinances were in the correct order, but the hyperlinked documents were wrongly associated. So that's been fixed. So the current hyperlinks work correctly.
But Charles, if people have the agenda here today, we're talking about number 3 on this agenda.
Yes.
But if you're looking online, we're talking about number 2. Okay.
I see.
Yeah, that's why she didn't know what you were.
Okay. I wasn't aware that they were flipped on the written agenda.
Yeah, the written one is different.
Okay. So yes, the one we're looking at, if you're looking at the written agenda, would be numbered 3.
Correct.
It's actually on the hyperlinked version at home, number 2, and I'll try to explain why that is. This initial ordinance, which is to adopt the adjusted rates, the council's already done this. They did this last year. So about every 4 years, the state of Louisiana reassesses property values throughout the state. They then adjust the tax rates at the state, and all of the state municipalities, the parishes, et cetera, have to adopt those adjusted rates. We did that last year. It is not uncommon in cities or parishes for the cities or parishes to go to the vote of a people and have the citizens vote for additional taxes, millages, right? That's what the next one is. Last year, because of a change in how this happened, we were not able to adopt our local rates. We're doing that now. And our local rates will be what was approved by the voters. We're not increasing those rates. The rates remain the same. So this first part, because state law requires us to adopt or readopt the state rates before we can adopt or readopt our rates, that's what this one is. Again, this is the introduction. I'm giving a little more explanation than I normally would, and this has kind of been talked about earlier in the night. But an introduction is really just a public notice that if the council votes to introduce this for further discussion, there will be a public hearing at the next council meeting. So this first one, again, is to adopt the state rates. That's the 8.730 mils, the 9.650 mils, the 1.930 mils, for the total of 20.310 mils, which has already been adopted. But in order for us to adopt our rates with the next one, we have to do this again.
Okay. Anyone?
The increase is the next one, yes.
Anyone from the public on this item? Anyone from the council? I make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye. Introduction number 3.
Introduction of an ordinance to levy the following millage rates, but not in excess of the prior year's maximum rates on all taxable property shown on the official assessment roll for the year 2025, and to use the revenue collected for each millage only for the specific purpose for which the millage was levied. Adjustable rate for general alimony, general fund, 8.730 mils. 2025 levy, 9.040 mils. For fire and police, 9.650 mils. 25 levy, 10.00 mils. Public Works, 1.930 mils. 2025 levy, 2.000 mils, for a total adjustable rate of 20.310 mils. And 2025 levy, 21.040 mils. Charles?
So this might explain why these have to go in the order. So that first column that Lisa read, the adjusted rate, that is the rate from the previous ordinance. The 2020 levy would be our local rate. And so it increases the state rate to our voter-approved rate, which is a total of 21.040 mils. Again, this is the introduction. If introduced tonight, there will be a public hearing at the next council meeting where we can discuss this in more detail.
Anyone from the public on this item?
Stanley Campbell, District 1. Charles, I'm not going to act like I understand most of this stuff here. Hey, can you answer this for me? How does it stack up to the millage rate of similar municipalities of our size?
I would say it's in line. I don't have those other figures in front of me, but these rates have to be approved first by the voters and then also by the state. This additional millage, I can tell you, it generates about an extra $250,000 for the city. And that's assessing all of the accessible properties in our city.
Charles, not additional millage, adjusted millage, because it's not an additional millage.
No, it's not an additional millage. It brings in additional revenue.
Money, yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Dan LaVue, I live in Whitmore Drive, and I don't know if this is the appropriate venue, and I should have maybe talked to Steve before. We have houses in our subdivision that are still assessed under $75,000. Now, you know, in this day and age, that's not particularly correct. Aren't every 4 years the assessor's office supposed to reassess every property in the parish? Am I correct? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that generate more money for the city if we had the proper procedures being done? We've confronted the assessor's office on this before, and they tell us, well, we'll catch it when they sell the house. Suppose they live in it for the next 20 or 30 years. Anybody have any answers on that?
They actually just did a reassessment.
Exactly, and there were several of them that didn't budge.
Some of them might be, I don't know, some of them might be frozen depending on how, what.
No,
the
no,
elder-
no, you
how
can go
old-
on the website and
okay.
see, and this isn't a senior, these aren't seniors'
Okay.
houses frozen.
That's what I was talking about. A lot of the seniors are disability, military
I mean,
disability.
for example, one of the houses next door to me is still valued under $75,000. The land is worth more than that.
When did it sell last? Do you know, a long time?
Oh, it was bought back in the 90s,
Okay,
but
and it
it's
had-
never, ever,
Yeah.
is that, I mean, that's not fair to the other taxpayers. Not fair to the city, it's not fair to the parish.
They didn't miss mine.
No, they don't miss a lot of them.
They didn't miss one of them.
But it seems there are certain areas, unless you've bought recently in the next 2 or 3 years, they're not going to touch them.
I'll talk to the,
Just a suggestion.
I'll talk to the assessor and I can get back with you, Jan.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Council member? I make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
And Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Introduction number 4.
Introduction of an ordinance adjusting the rates for city water and sewer services. Charles Barsher.
Again, this is just the introduction. If this is introduced tonight, there'll be a public hearing at the next council meeting. I've mentioned this at previous council meetings at the budget work session. We haven't adjusted our water and sewer rates since, I believe, 2017. Last year, we had a state-directed rate study performed, and it showed what we thought it would, which is that our rates are too low to sustain our water and sewer system. They made recommendations which we are obligated to adopt, and so those recommendations are captured in the proposed ordinance. Basically, it's an increase of the water rate for inside users from $1.50 per 1,000 gallons to $2.89. This is based on usage. Sewer from $3 per 1,000 gallons to $5.07 per 1,000 gallons. Again, that's inside users. And I will note that historically, our sewer rate has been double our water rate, so it actually should be higher than 507, but the state identified that our sewer rate was actually more in line with where it should be. So it would be the pleasure of the council to increase that to the historic double or to keep it at this minimum. I've chosen for the purposes of discussion to start with the lower rate. And then for water outside, $3 would go to $5.78 per 1,000 gallons, and sewer outside would go from $6 to $10.14 per 1,000 gallons. There's also a separate attachment that I prepared for the council and the public that kind of shows what all this would look like. It compares our existing rates to our proposed rates, indicates the change, where the change is occurring, and then also gives you some examples of like what the minimum bill would be, both inside and outside our city limits. For our lowest income earners, for our fixed income earners, for some of our senior citizens, I imagine that the minimum bill and the change in the minimum bill would be something they would really want to pay attention to. Again, we're trying not to change this any more than we absolutely have to.
Okay. Anyone from the public on this item?
I live at 504 South Cherry Street.
Your name, please.
David Hyde,
right.
on my house. The guy next door to me, one reason your sewer and water rates are having flexibility problems, this character's flushing porta-johns next door to me in your storm drains, and it's going into your water supplies. And you know what? When at night, he's doing this at night, and sometimes the water pressure, because he's flooding the streets, is no, if a fire comes over there, we're screwed. This is happening right now. I've got pictures of it. And he's flushing porta-johns into your city water supply. He's got 10 of them over there sometimes.
What are you saying? He's flushing what?
He's flushing portable toilets. And
Oh.
also,
Okay.
what he takes the tanker truck, and he's putting that, and it's going into your storm drains. Now, this has got to stop. The smell over there is horrible. We don't know what, there are people dying in that neighborhood right now. There are people with cancer. We don't know what chemicals. The smell is so horrible. I can't sit on my porch. My grandsons cannot even come play in my yard. Now, this is going on right now. He's from Texas.
And what's your address again?
504 South Cherry Street, sir.
Mr. David, have you reported this? You haven't told
Yes,
me.
I have. I have called people.
I'm your council person.
Well,
you haven't told me
look,
about
I don't want to start trouble.
Okay.
I've been trying to deal with this guy, but it's unbelievable. I got pictures.
No, you're not starting trouble,
Let's
Dave.
get something done.
So,
this is first word about it.
Joey is on it.
Okay.
He's on it.
We're
They've
trying
been
to
very
catch
nice,
him.
but he sneaks and does it. He did it
Yeah,
right
and
after that.
Right.
How long
The
have you been doing it
pictures you
for?
have, we definitely could use those. Joey's getting with the state to see who we can get down here to make sure that he can even park this thing there in the evenings when he comes home. That's what we
And
try
the
to.
smell. I mean, you know,
That's terrible.
we've got to
He's been on
smell
it for
this.
about a week now.
It's like an elephant stall.
How long has it been going on for? When did it start?
When he first moved in,
What was that, a year ago?
about a year, yes, sir. I was kind enough. I said, you know, I'll let you park your trailer in front of my house. You know, little did I know, a week later, he's still there, except he's got 4 portable I thought he was going to do it overnight. I'm trying to be nice with this guy. Look, the Wongs are very, very nice people. They own that, okay? This is not a problem with the Wongs. This is a problem with this tenant that is using this to, why don't he go flush these things somewhere else? Why is he doing it to city water? Well, we have to deal with this, going into your storm drains. I'm sorry, but it's got to stop, please.
I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank y'all. Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Could,
the
Mr. David,
motion-
No, not at all,
Can you
Dave.
get your pictures to them?
Help.
It sounds like code
Got 'em
enforcement
right
needs
here.
some
How do I
proof.
get 'em?
Yeah.
You like to see them?
I want you to give it
Have you
to them
given
for
them
code
to Joey?
enforcement.
No, sir, I haven't.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know how, my phone's dead, I can't, I'll get them to somebody.
I'm gonna give you my,
If you want me to send them to you, Ms.
Yeah, yeah, if you want to email them to me, I know you have my email. I will send it directly. That might be the easiest for you. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this has we all live in this town and we love it.
Don't be sorry. This
But
is
we
something that
cannot
should have been
have this
said.
happening from
we need
somebody
more
from
whistleblowers,
Texas,
tell
who
'em.
might even be from south of the border. And I don't care, but he's not one of us. And you know, and I'm not saying that racially or ethnically. I'm saying he's not a Hammondite. We are all love this town. And you got to smell and you got to drink that water and you got to smell your ice cubes that smell horrible. It's going to affect us all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I'm glad I'm glad you came up here tonight, sir, and said this. And the comment that I'm about to make needs to be stated. Here's something that was brought to the city administration side. Councilwoman Gonzalez had no clue that this was going on inside of her district. She's finding out tonight. In certain cases, it seems to me that council person should be notified, especially in an extreme case like this, where Councilwoman Gonzalez would be caught off guard tonight with that, by him coming up here. Right. And I totally understand that. But my point is, what I'm stating right now is, when the notification was made to the city should have notified Councilwoman Gonzalez on that because of the nature of what's taking place inside of her district. Just in case another citizen in the area would have called her, she would be able to have an answer for them. I hope everybody understands what I'm stating. Yeah. I mean, I due to the nature of that, she should have been notified. And I do appreciate you bringing it to our attention, you know.
So kind of help me out, Mr. President. So when issues like this take place, or similar to this, and I'm glad you brought it up, when code enforcement get involved, you don't know if they solved the problem or not, because what you just said, they don't even tell us that we done took care of the issue. So I'm glad you said that, and it's time now, not just with the bar rooms, not with just the alcohol, it's time to clean up stuff. And we can't keep sitting here pushing it up under the rug like nothing taking place. And I'm talking about what this gentleman just said, and it's so sad.
Fix everybody.
Code enforcement need to be there right now. That's the time, and that's why I say your department heads need to be here. What sense do it make to pay all this money out to these department heads, and they can't even come to the council meeting to hear the problem of the resident? And so every department head get paid by everybody in here. And I have a problem with it. You know, Mr. Campbell brought it up. Why the chief not here? You know, stop making up excuses for these overpaid workers. And I'm tired. I'm tired of paying all this money out. And I guarantee we can see them at the coffee house. They need to come out and hear what's going on. And it's so sad that the city been contacted. They ain't just not hearing about this. They've been contacted, but yet nothing took place. But I guarantee you, code enforcement, if they doing Uber Eats and all that, they can use the vehicles to do that. They can't do it now because they monitor. Let's monitor all the vehicles. Let's stop hiding and pushing stuff up under the cover. You know, I'm sitting up here and I'm angry. I'm angry because we keep coming up here, hearing all these lies, and yet, well, we're going to get to it. We're going to take care of it. I can't keep coming up here doing this. Either take care of the problem, or I can't be up here no more. So stop making up excuses on what's going on. This here man cleaning out septic tanks, porta cans, and yet he's dumping it in the city. Come on, it don't take a rocket science to figure that out. We know where that stuff go at, and we know where it's supposed to be dumped at. So this something should be worked on now. That's the time, Mr. Mayor, you should have been picking up the phone, calling code enforcement right now, not tomorrow, right now.
Code enforcement's been on it for 2 weeks. You don't want to overstate it to where they find out. We can't catch them. It hasn't been in this storm drain that we can see. We thought maybe he was trying to put it in his clean out with the sewer. You've got to catch the person doing it. He says he's not doing it. He says he does park his trailer there. So this is 2 weeks going on now that we're trying to deal with this and catch him. But legally, once again, you have to catch somebody doing what they're doing or find residue in the drain storm or wherever it is, which we can't. So, you know, that's where we are with this.
Okay. All right.
Stanley Campbell, District 1. If this is true and he has evidence of it.
First, we just heard about the pictures.
Yeah, so if he does have evidence of it.
Absolutely.
Isn't that a, oh man.
That's a DEQ violation.
That's a DEQ
Absolutely.
violation, right? And those guys, they fine you by the day. It's like.
Joey notified them this week as well. So, I mean, all the parties that need to be notified have been with the state. We're trying to catch the guy. First, we heard about him having pictures because Joey, he's a musician, past musician like Joey. They've talked. He's been over to his house many times. So we haven't heard. That's first we heard about pictures. Well, that's good stuff.
But still in all, I think we still bypassing what President Kip said. A council person should be notified that this matter been taken care of that we looking into this matter, or we working on this matter. I think that's the point that I was trying to get across, that we need to know or we have a problem. For everything going on in the city, picking up trash, everything, at least let us know that, yeah, we got the email, we got the text. Tell us something. That's it. Thank you.
Right. Anyone else on introduction number 4? I make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Introduction number 5.
Introduction of an ordinance adjusting a fee for garbage collection in the city of Hammond. Charles Barsher.
Once again, this is an introduction. If this is introduced tonight, there will be a public hearing on this at the next council meeting. Currently, customers of garbage collection services in the city are paying $14.08 for twice-a-week collection. The actual cost to the city is around $23. So the city's been actually subsidizing the cost of garbage collection now to the tune of about $800,000 a year. That's $800,000 that can't be spent on road projects, on sidewalk projects, on park projects, and other infrastructure projects. We're asking the council to consider increasing the rate to $23 so that we're no longer subsidizing that cost. The customers are paying what they should be paying. This is also summarized. There's a separate attachment here that's hyperlinked, very similar to the previous one. Actually includes the same information, but I've highlighted where the garbage rate is and what it would change to and what the percent or what the dollar amount increase would be. So it would be $8.92 increase per month going from $14.08 to $23. And again, that's for twice a week garbage collection. For some comparisons, we have some users that live just outside our city limits who pay anywhere from $116 to $150 a month for the same water, sewer, garbage collection services. Some of them only have once a week collection. So we still have twice a week collection in the city. Asking the council to consider introducing this tonight.
Anyone from the public on this item? Anyone from the council have any questions on this item?
Yeah, Charles, did y'all look into something for a senior citizen and for people on fixed income?
Councilman, I think the short answer is yes. I think the fairest way to assess these increases is based on usage. So for individuals who are on fixed income, senior citizen, maybe living alone, they're going to pay the lowest rate. For a family of four, they're going to pay more because they use more. I've looked at flat rates. The flat rate actually benefits the higher paying customers. It really doesn't benefit the lower paying customer. It increases the bill exponentially for the lowest paying customer.
And to give them a lower fee, apparently legally was brought up in other municipalities, and it was a discrimination thing across the board.
All right, thank you.
And also, let's back up just 1 second, if you don't mind, on this porta pod thing. The porta pods, every time Joy's been there, has had the smell good inside of the pods. The gentleman who rents from the Wong says that he's dumping them wherever he dumps them before he gets home. So there has been no evidence of him dumping that in the storm drains or until you have pictures.
Yeah, it's not pictures of dumping, it's just pictures of porta.
And, so there's nothing sound on that issue. And the gentleman has says that he empties them before he gets home. And when Joey checked multiple times, what's in them is the smell good, clean can. But anyway.
So this guy didn't know what he was talking about? I'm asking.
I hate to say that, but we have yet to prove it.
Yeah, one question real quick. This is a procedural question, Charles. The item we're talking about, is that adjustment, would that affect the budget for fiscal year 2025, 26, or would that go roll over to the next year?
It would absolutely affect the new fiscal year, the 26 fiscal year that the council will be voting on to adopt the budget for.
That's an additional 800,000 that would go toward.
So the proposed budget includes projections for these revenues. If these don't get passed, we would have to we would have to reduce our capital projects or other spending in order to have a balanced budget.
Anyone else? I make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Abstain.
Councilman Leon.
Resolution number 1.
A resolution to ratify and award bids received on 5/22/25 from Minnesota Park Concrete Street Improvements, project number 420-12515. J.C. Pittman.
Good evening, y'all.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
What I have before y'all is the bid summary and bid tabulation for the Minnesota Park concrete street improvements. We received 10 bids, which is a lot of bids. The low bid was Arbor Construction in the amount of $421,960.00. Arbor Construction has performed contracts for the city of Hammond before, so we recommend award to Arbor Construction in the low bid amount of $421,960.00.
Go ahead.
Jay, we budgeted 620 for this. Is this that grossly under budget, or there's stuff in here that we're not considering?
So I think the original,
And that's with 250 from the parish.
that's right. So there was some additional funds placed there. all the bids came back relatively, if you can see there, they all hovered around say the upper 400s. I just think this contractor was eager or hungry for work. We've been seeing additional bidders.
Yeah, I see that.
If on the previous city project, I think we had an enlarged amount of bidders, and I just think it's the work environment that we're in. I think work is I don't want to say scarce, but we're seeing a lot of contractors that used to bid a lot of our work come back to the area, and as well as a lot of new contractors just getting into the business coming to bid. So correct. Yes, sir. So Mayor, to answer that question is we will have the pre-construction meeting next week, and then they will begin immediately, and they're well aware of that. Absolutely.
So we're not gonna have no add-ons or none of that, huh? To your knowledge?
To my knowledge, no, sir.
Okay. So I'm talking about we looking at, and I'm gonna circle this here now, cause I won't forget. I'm looking at this 421. I don't want this 421 to end up being 621.
I got you. No, sir. We're confident in their ability. We spoke with them, reviewed their bid with it. They're comfortable and confident in their number. So they're responsive. They're a responsive bidder, a responsible bidder, and that meets the two criteria for the bid.
Yeah, and I got a chance to talk to Mr. Chuck too today, and he told me, do not give you a hard time. Just let you say what you got to say and be quiet. So he did tell me that.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Anyone else? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Aye. Councilman Derriterio?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Oh, Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Me.
What did I miss?
Me.
You missed Kip.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Thank you, Jay.
Thank y'all.
You lost without Andre over there?
Resolution number 2.
A resolution to authorize the mayor to enter into contract with Peregrine Corporation for utility billing services in the approximate annual amount of $60,060. Charles Brusher.
Peregrine is the company that we've been using for a while now to do our mail-outs for our utility billing, water, sewer, garbage collection billing. We did look at, as part of the budgeting for this new fiscal year, we did look at bringing this in-house, and we found that actually Peregrine's fees were a lot less than it would cost us to do it in-house. So we're asking the council to approve the contract. On a monthly basis, they mail out somewhere around 7,000 bills. I've had some interaction with them on a project, and found them to be very responsive to our request for, putting out information and whatnot, so.
Charles, I'm confused by looking at these proposals. Peregrine's proposal is maybe I'm not reading it right, 9,660. It says yearly cost. What am I missing? Because on here it says the annual amount of $60,060.
Bear with me one second. So there's a couple of factors here. There's the annual postage and the annual billing. So you have to add those two together to get the $60,060. So the annual billing is around $96.60. The annual postage is around $50,400.
So that's the 50,000 is the postage issue.
Right.
Okay.
I will tell you that in my experience working with them, their cost to do a mail out we had a mail out related to the lead survey that was done last year. It was more cost effective for them to do the envelope, the insert, and the postage than it would have been for us to even have the postage. They get some kind of bulk rate discount on their postage. But yeah, postage is not cheap.
Wow.
7,000 bills a month.
12,
Yeah. And there's 2 different billings too, so they split it in half, but it's around 7,000 to 7,500 customers a month, every month. We are working on that. The hope is that maybe by the middle of this new fiscal year, so by the end of the calendar year, we may have, we're in the process of updating our online billing. That is an option that's available to customers. We're hoping to move more customers to online billing. We're going to really hit some of the corporate customers hard in the beginning. We think that a lot of our commercial customers will want to do that. And if we can move them off, that's probably around, I don't know, 1,500 to 2,000 customers. And then we'll start working on getting citizens on. At the point at which most or all of our customers are paying online, we can eliminate the postage costs.
That's a good point. The Hammond water bill is one of the only checks I mail every month. And personally, it's because I tried your online billing and it was garbage. Yeah. So we need to fix that.
We're in the process.
Want to pay online.
Yeah. We're in the process. We've recently switched to a new credit card processing service, and we're in the process of updating the actual online payment system. What'll be really nice going forward is that customers will have real-time access to their bill, so they'll be able to see their usage.
And I can't tell you how many times, it's at least 6 times, a quarter, I get, hey, I got my bill and it's due in 2 days. And that is, and I'm like, you have a 10-day grace period and all of that, and it makes no sense. I know, but people don't know that when they get it and they panic and they got to try and run up to the post office to mail a check.
Yeah. That happens sometimes after it's been mailed by Peregrine. It's not necessarily Peregrine's fault or the city's fault. Sometimes things get hung up in the mail. So.
So how much will it cost to do it in-house? So that means we ain't gonna vote on this tonight then. You see, this is what I'm talking about.
The point is, it's cheaper.
Yeah, I understand that, what I'm saying, I don't see no papers in front of me. This is all I'm asking. I just asked the question. How much it costs to do it in-house? But yet we have nothing in front of us but to vote on this. So this is not an introduction, huh? No. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. I just asked how much it costs to do it in-house. And then another problem that I'm having, and I mentioned this several years back, but I'm gonna say it again. Is it any way that when the garbage man is running, that it can be put on the water bill that the garbage is not running today, the garbage is running today, that we're gonna be closed for a holiday? And I'm saying these things because a lot of time, mostly everybody in Hammond get a water bill. And you don't have to put this stuff on Facebook because everybody not on Facebook. Everybody not on YouTube. So is any way that we're dealing with these folks that we can have it where the administration can let us know when the garbage running? Because we just had a holiday and the garbage man ran. Some folks didn't put their garbage out and some folks did. So is there any way that we can start putting this on the water bill?
We can certainly look into that. I know that we sometimes get notice from the garbage collection company a few days before a holiday, whether they're going to do pickup or not. And I know we try to put that out there, but we could probably do a better job. I'll look into that and see how we're doing that. If there are certain days that we know they're not going to work, we can certainly try to include that in a mailer and let people know these are the holidays they won't be collecting.
Yeah, but I mean, people know Christmas. He's talking about,
We just had a holiday to pass.
Memorial
The
Day.
garbage company, if the parish closed, they can't work. But what I'm saying is it any way that the people can know? I didn't put my garbage out. But what I'm saying is some did, some didn't, because I said it was a holiday. So I'm just asking, a lot of things take place with the city that we can start adding information on the water bill where people can read it and see for themselves. I'm just asking, do this company do this or not?
I can find out. I don't know for sure, but I would assume that there are certain holidays that they know they're closed, and we could certainly put that in the mailer. But there are some holidays where they may actually do collection. It also depends, I think you mentioned, on whether the landfill is open, et cetera. I did get a text. I texted our finance director to your question, Mr. Wells, about the cost. She's indicating the cost to do it in-house would have been about double. And that's related to postage, labor, and probably having to hire another person to do that. So,
Well, it's amazing how you can see them numbers and I can't see them, so thank you. Yeah, but we still in all, I'm gonna say this again. See, when we have the department heads here, how they can sit here and tell us something versus me sitting there trying to see your phone, because I'm just gonna be honest, I'm to the point now, I don't too much believe what people tell me now. And so they told me once you see it in black and white, you can read it for yourself. So that's what I'm up against. But thank you for trying. That's it for me.
Anyone else?
Like if the mail went out too late or something.
Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Wells.
Abstain.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye. Resolution number 3.
Resolution to authorize the mayor to renew service agreement with Mission Communications for software services in the amount of $26,108. Charles Marshall.
Mission Communications is the service company we've been using to provide monitoring for our water wells, our sewer stations, and the sewer plant. If there are any problems, the systems there alert us. They're monitored through this software and service package. So we're asking the council to renew that.
Anyone from the public have any questions on this item? Anyone from the council? I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Resolution number 4.
A resolution, 1, supporting the submission of an application for up to $10,000 to the Keep Louisiana Beautification Grant Program for planning and landscaping around the gazebo in K Square Park, and 2, supporting a 15% in match kind in volunteer hours. Charles Barsher.
It was brought to the attention of the grants department that the gazebo in K Square Park needs a little TLC, particularly the landscaping around the gazebo and then in other parts of the park. The grants department identified an opportunity through Keep Louisiana Beautiful. It's an organization we've applied to in the past for up to $10,000 to do this. The match is 15% match, but it can come from in-kind volunteer hours from our Keep Hammond Beautiful organization. So we're asking the council to approve or their support of the application.
Anyone from the public? Anyone from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Charles, a question on that particular item. Are there any other grants like that out there besides dealing with parks, dealing with, let's say, some of the beautification coming in the downtown area too, that probably would, if it could fall up under the Keep Louisiana Beautiful grant?
The short answer is yes. There's a beautification grant. There is a Healthy Communities grant. This is the beautification grant. We've looked into those and applied them for different purposes. I think they were actually looking at potentially using this for a similar project. We were having a little issue with what all the grant will fund. This is mostly softscaping, so plants and shrubs and trees, and not any type of hardscaping like signage or whatever.
Okay. Thank you. Resolution number 5.
A resolution ratifying and rejecting all bids received for Mooney Avenue Park Pavilion, RFB 25-12, for non-responsiveness. Charles Barsher.
So we bid this out. We had 3 bidders. Unfortunately, none of the bidders provided the required drawings to show that what they were proposing actually met the requirements that we were asking for. We had a custom design. It was a very interesting design. Worked with Councilman Wells on that. I think that these companies tend to be distributors, vendors. They don't tend to be the actual manufacturers. And so they're looking for something that they can essentially resell. They're looking for a prefabricated structure that they can put a price on and provide a price to us for. As soon as we talk about a custom structure, then there's a cost involved in design, and we think that may have impacted the bids here. We did discuss next steps with our state grantor. Their recommendation was, under state bid law, we really need to reject all of the bids for non-responsiveness before we can rebid the project. So I'll be speaking with Councilman Wells about his wishes. They did recommend that we go with a more standard and less custom design, but that is our choice.
Usually we see the breakdown. Did it even happen, or?
There isn't one here because they're all considered non-responsive.
Okay.
Anyone from the public? Anyone from the council?
Yes. Once again, Charles, why you and I couldn't sit down, the grant writers, we couldn't sit down and talk about this? You know, it's like, and you know how much my passion is for Mooney Park. I would do anything it takes to make Mooney Park better and safer. And Councilman Andrews brought this up earlier. You know, you sit up here and you get hit with these surprises, and we've been going back and forth with emails and stuff, but it was easy for us to sit down a month ago, 2 months ago, or whenever this here went out, before we can discuss this and see what's going on. But it's amazing. And I gave you all the information, where I got the buildings from, where I got the idea from, and everything. That when it comes to, and I don't know, like when it comes to Mooney Park, it is always something. You know, even to a plant, even to a tree, is always something. And only so much I can take. You know, I never asked for nothing but take care of Mooney Park. Seven years I've been up here talking about Mooney Park. Y'all ain't have to put a dime in the district. Just take care of Mooney Park. You can't take care of Mooney Park. So, while you can't take care of Mooney Park, we got to put money in the district. Because it don't make sense for me to be elected and don't ask for nothing in the community. The community been asking for a park for the longest. Gonzalez Park got burned down. Boom. Right away, we putting it back up. Sam Park got burned down. Boom. Take 2 years to get it back up. And I'm saying this here, Cape Park, anything happen in Cape Park, boom, take 1 week to get it up. But when it come to Mooney Park, seven years that we had a grant for this park and we still working on this. Charles, this is unacceptable. We have to do better. I've been telling myself, that's what I told you, I got knots in my stomach, I'm sick. That we going through this not for me. It seems like every day is getting personal, me sitting up here. This not for me, this for the kids. I want them to have somewhere safe to play. I want the families to be able to bring the kids to the park. But dang, we can talk about alcohol all night, and we can't talk about nowhere safe for the kids to go to. Charles, we got to do better. Mr. Mayor, we got to do better. I know you can't run every department. I know you've been really trying, but we got to do better. It don't make sense for me to sit up here and vote for nothing for nobody else if I can't get nothing in my area. We got to do better. And I'm going to tell you, I know you're ready, Mr. Mayor. When we talk about Minnesota Parkway, anytime I came to talk about Mooney Park, somehow you always end up in the office where I'm at, Tell me about Minnesota Parkway. And so I sat there and bit my tongue. Y'all wanted concrete, I wanted asphalt. Minnesota Parkway, I started the table it tonight until we get Mooney Park going, but I know y'all need the tax dollars. We all need the tax dollars, so I let that go. We got to do better. You know, the summer is here, and we still playing around with this park. Charles, if I ask you right now, well, Charles, what's the last thing we did in the park? Oh, Councilman Wells, we got some trees planted. Charles, what's the last thing we did in the park? Oh, Councilman Wells, we got boulders in the park. Charles, I know everything going in that park. Just like I know my house, I know that park. Charles, what's the last thing we done in the park? Oh, they got the water fountain fixed. Everything you said don't have nothing to do with the kids playing in the park. The kids don't have a choice but to go to the bar rooms at 14, 13, because they can't go to the park. I'm trying to give the kids a safe place to go. They can't even go to the park. We got to do better. Please, let's do better.
So I'd just like to clarify a few things. The grant was received in late 2021, October of 2021. That was when the new parking lot was being constructed, the new restroom building was being put in, and the new basketball pavilion was being installed. Once that work was completed, we renovated the old basketball pavilion. We turned it into a fully covered playground. We removed the old splash pad. We removed the old playground equipment. We put in, I think last year or the year before last, we put in new swings over by the basketball pavilion. We have done some of the landscaping work because we were waiting for an amendment, which also includes additional funding for the splash pad. This has been a big project, and it has not always moved quickly.
Covered the basketball pavilion.
Yes, it was. We converted the old. The basketball pavilion was originally going to be just a basketball court, but it was covered during that first phase. We did get approval at the previous council meeting to move forward with the splash pad. So that we notified the contractor to go ahead and accept the award and get us the contract so we can get that process started. I do think, Councilman Wells, the fastest way to move forward with the pavilions is to go with a more standard design, which is something I had presented to you, I think, in November of last year. And we do have a plan to do the sidewalk. I've talked with Chuck Spangler. There's a drainage project, as you know, going on Live Oak that's going to add sidewalk on that side of the park. We have an opportunity to tie in the perimeter sidewalk on the west, which is South Scanlon, and the north perimeter, which is private property, along with some drainage so that we can remove the ditch along the northern perimeter. There's a lot of work to be done, and we're trying to get it done.
Okay, once again, Charles, I know everything going on in the park. Now, I'm glad you brought that up. We tore the splash pad up. Why we tore the splash pad up? Say it on the mic why we tore it up.
Splash pad was sinking and inoperable.
Yes, it was sinking because of what? It wasn't inspected. They didn't pack it the right way. That's why the parking lot is in the middle of the park. First time in my life seeing a parking lot in the middle of the park. So we trying to correct stuff that the mistakes was made. So let's say that. So why the parking in the middle of the park, Charles? Explain it, you know.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
the master plan that we submitted to the state funder had the parking lot where the old splash pad was.
That's right.
That was changed. I've heard two different explanations for why that was changed. I can tell you that I had nothing to do with it. The grants department had nothing to do with it.
Oh, I know that, but just say, so when you're talking, sit there and say it all. You know, the splash pad that we had in the park, it was sinking. So that was costing us money. So that's why we tore that up. We couldn't put the parking there because the parking was going to sink. So say everything. Don't just say some of the things. So, because I want the people to know, because one thing about it, I'm not going to let nobody sit here and make me look bad or say something crazy. Because if I say something, I said and I meant what I say. So we've been working with the city all the while for everything that you have done. And I tell you in a minute, if you do something good, thank you. thank you. But if you do something bad, I'm not gonna say thank you. So I'm just asking you to work with me better, because if not, y'all gonna make me stay up here another 12 years, and I can't stay up here that long. I still got my own life I have to do. So just work with me, at least let the park be finished before I get out of office. That's all I'm asking for. If not, y'all gonna make me keep running for office, because I got to keep talking about the park. Because you ain't gonna hear nothing about Mooney Park once I'm gone. So we gotta do better. We gotta do better, Mr. Mayor. We gotta do better, because I notice when you want something, you're gonna keep talking about it. You're gonna find help to get it paid for and everything. But when I talk about something, it's okay, we're gonna get it, and that's it. So that's it. My council report, I'm ready. So we're gonna go. Thank you, Mr. President.
I make a motion to approve rejecting the bids.
Second.
Councilman Leon. Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Mayor's report.
We had a successful fishing tournament at Zimmery Park. Wildlife and Fisheries put about 300 pounds of fish in the pond. We had double the participants as we did the past year. A lot of families participated with children, fellowship, great time, and thanks to everyone who helped make that possible.
Council reports.
Garbage. I have senior citizens that the garbage collectors, they'll go get the can from their house, but they're not taking them. They're not taking the cans back. That's what they're doing now.
You're saying they're collecting the can from by the back
like
door,
under
but
their
not
driveway.
bringing it?
They picking the can up from their driveway, dumping the can, but they leaving the can out by the road.
Well, I'll take that up with them. They should be returning the can where they picked it up.
Okay.
Just want to make a note on Robinwood Drive. I think it might. Can you check in on Robinwood Drive with the grass department maintenance to see if they're supposed to be cutting between Robinwood and the fence on? I think it's like 151 Robinwood Drive. It's kind of close where that new studio is, dance studio. It's on. It seems like it's getting out of hand over there. So I don't know if normally whoever was cutting it was a property owner, or stopped cutting it now or whatnot. So just pass back through there to see if that's who needs to cut it.
Anyone else? At this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to publicly thank those city employees that I met with on last week. We had some great discussions, and I just want to publicly acknowledge, thank them for their time, especially with code enforcement and with the planning and zoning office on some things, getting clarification. I really want to thank them as well, and also having the opportunity to dip in and out with talking with Ms. Carolyn. I'd like to thank her as well for answering some questions and things that I had. With that being said, is there anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn? Meeting adjourned.